District attorney went off the rails. Innocent until proven guilty. Never came out of his mouth. That is outrageous. We are outraged. Before any trial has occurred, he announced the defendant's theory of the case is a desperate attempt to reassign guilt. That is outrageous. We are outraged. He provided a false notice of discovery, claiming he did not know. We now know that was a lie. That is outrageous. We are outraged. This court should be outraged. Everyone should be outraged. That is outrageous. We are outraged. District attorney went off the rails. Innocent until proven guilty. Never came out of his mouth. That is outrageous. We are outraged. Be provided a false notice of discovery, claiming he did not know. We now know that was a lie. That is outrageous. We are outraged. This court should be outraged. Everyone should be outraged. That is outrageous. We are outraged. That is outrageous. We are outraged. This court should be outraged. Everyone should be outraged. Outraged. That is outrageous. We are outraged.
Hello, everyone. We are back. Are we suitably outraged today? Yes, it is, Sammy. I agree. The court is part of the outrage. So you'll note I haven't been playing my usual intro because I'm too outraged. So let's say hi to everyone. Hi, Sammy. Hi, I can't remember. Whoops, hang on. Oh, I'm losing control of my clicker here. Hello, Kim. Thanks for joining us. James. And out and about with Diane. Deborah, how's it going? Anne, how's it going? Aqua, OG. I'm glad you made it live. Billy, how's it going? AH. Marsha. Oh my goodness. Oh my gosh and goodness. Outrageous Bev. I know. I thought because we had a short day yesterday, we'll probably have a longer day today, but I was wrong. So, hello. Oh my gosh, you people think of the darndest handles. Right. So, what are we outraged about today? I feel like there was a lot less to be outraged about today than there has been lately, right? Hello, Dirty Bev. I agree, James. Totally. Hello, South Carolina. Welcome to the house. Ice Beverage is way out of line. I'm so outraged. She's way out of line. Right, so what are we outraged about today? Geez, I got some notes. I got a lot of notes. I'm actually pretty stoked today. I don't know if you guys will caught my community post or X post, but I was actually watching live from Tommy's channel today. Hey Bob, how's it going? So what happened today? That's right. I think the defense team took a hint that I dropped them, which was about the BAC tests. So something Lowy kept saying last trial is the BAC tests were blood. He kept saying they were plasma serum tests. The problem with that is saying them both together like that. They're not plasma serum tests because a plasma test is different to a serum test. And then the doctor on the stand today also said, this is how we did it, and it's called a plasma test. And then halfway through his testimony, he started calling it a serum test. So I don't think any of them know which is which, but if you saw my video on the tests, you'll note that they are two different tests. A serum test is where you take the as he said, white blood cells, I guess, out of it, and you're taking half the blood. Oh, hang on, he said this. So you're taking a third of the blood out of it, and you're left with this concentrated amount of liquid. And then the plasma is the opposite. Oh my God, now I'm confused. I'm confused which one's which now. And the other one's the opposite. The other one is where you're concentrating it down to just the red blood cells, and you're taking all the liquid out of it. Either way, you end up with concentrated BAC, right? So you're supposed to adjust to whole blood before you begin. And so if you're using plasma, I think it's 25% to adjust to whole blood. And if you're using serum, it's 30%. I could have that backwards, but that's the basic concept. Essentially, I can play the video too, just to make sure I get it the right way around, but that's right, Debbie. It was definitely not conducted how it was supposed to be. So you're supposed to use whole blood. If you don't use whole blood, you have to make these 25 to 30% calculations to bring it back to whole blood. And he more or less admitted on the stand that he didn't do that. You know, when he was asked about the whole blood, he said, oh yeah, I read somewhere it was like, 1.8%. And I'm like, are you serious? You read somewhere? You literally didn't adjust to whole blood. So yeah, that screwed his testimony. So I think what we're going to see is the technician who did the calculations on the blood, I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but I can pull it up. The technician who actually did the testing, it did the calculations in the lab, in the police lab. I think that's the one. I think he's going to find himself in a pickle if he didn't do that final calculation. So, right, he was, hey, how's it going? But he was all not only defensive about it, he's not accredited to do the whole blood testing for BAC. He said that several times. They're not accredited to do it. So he can be as defensive as he wants to, but the hospitals, he said 18 higher, and hopefully the jurors got that right, but he didn't actually use it. He just said, I read it somewhere. He didn't actually use it. So he did not adjust whether he was using plasma or serum, he did not adjust it for whole blood. So I was pretty on the money for that in that video. So I was pretty stoked about that. Like, whether they thought of it themselves and I was just smart and picked up on it, or whether they watched my video and decided, yes, we can argue that. Either way, I'm pretty freaking stoked. So that was a good thing for today. Not much to rage about there. Something else that I thought was interesting is, let me switch over and share this tab. We finally have a lawyer. Hang on, let's get over to, hang on, let's get over there. We finally have a lawyer speaking up about Karen doing her media interviews. So I'm not just talking out my ass. There is actually a way that you could use this as a lawyer for some reason. Not that she's supporting it, but finally we have a lawyer speaking up. Hey, Kevin in the house, everybody. The super mod. So they've allowed the doctor, yeah, to confuse the jury, right, Monkey Boy? Thanks for joining us. So he used a lot of big words. He just made it sound really hard to the jury, whereas Liza Little used little words and made it simple for the jury. So which one do you think they're going to remember? Because they're probably not going to remember the big words, dude. They're probably going to remember Eliza's simplified way of explaining it. So I think that's important to take into account. We usually remember the simplest one that makes sense to us, right? We don't usually remember the more complex thing that doesn't make any sense at all. You lost a brain cell today, Tommy. Thanks to Lunchbox Lally. I was actually surprised Lally was back on the stand. They let him talk. Like, whoa. I don't know what that was about. But yes, we did have Lunchbox Lally back. So now that you got Lunchbox Lally back, everyone's been saying we miss Lally. Do you still miss him? So, hey Ed, thanks for joining. I'm glad you caught us. I'm glad you caught alive. So going a little earlier than later than is how I catch people, obviously. So, yeah, so let's have a listen to what Lawyer Lee says.
Karen Reed went public early, long before most people would. She told her story on national TV. She had docuseries and interviews. She told it to local reporters. And I have been very outspoken that I think her willingness to go to the media and even more importantly to social media is the reason she did not get steamrolled in trial number one. If she had stayed silent, I am firmly convinced she would already be behind bars. But we are now in trial.
And I agree with her. She absolutely would be firmly behind bars, right? Now she goes on to contradict all of that because lawyers have got to contradict themselves. Thank you for the super chat, Liz. My favorite thing lately is your attorney reaction videos. Thanks. Well, you're welcome. So I will be doing this week's attorney reaction videos next week. Probably working on those over the weekend and starting them on Monday. So I like to give enough attorneys time to finish their work week and actually produce a video. Because if we've only got one or two attorneys, or I think we've got 3 streaming it now, if I remember the numbers correctly, then we've only got 3 to listen to. Whereas if we've got a good mashup of 7, 8, or 9 attorneys, then that makes a much better mashup, a much wider range of opinions. And I find those mashups actually do get a lot more interest than if we're just talking 1 or 2. So I like to have more attorneys, but you got to give them time. Some of them have day jobs, so it takes them longer to get to visiting this week's court footage. So thank you, Monkey Boy. I enjoyed being on with Tom today. It was good. We were both on the same page most of the time, so it was good. I didn't want to actually sit through trial because I want to be outraged with you guys in the chat. But being up with Tommy actually made it easy because I could be outraged with you guys and with the chat as well. So So that was good. That was good. It was a good day. Yeah, he didn't do the what if any's today. I don't know what happened to his what if any's. Maybe someone spoke to him and said, look, you're not in civil court. You can't do the what if any's because that's leading. So, Leslie's binder says, in some ways, Lally was just as dangerous. He's a corrupt liar, just not as obvious about it as Brennan. Yeah, I don't know. I think the people were saying about his voice, but like that Brennan's like more annoying than Lally's voice. Although everyone with last trial, everyone was going, oh my God, can't listen to Lally. They're all now saying, oh my God, bring Lally back. So they probably let him speak because he was crying. He probably did cry too much. So the main question was it snowing, right, Trisha? So you're tired of it already, Sammy? Thanks for joining us. I don't know. I've only just started. I'm not tired of it yet. I mean, I just want to rage out every day, but I'm not tired of the raging yet. Did you all hear Kerry made it to TMZ? I saw her. TMZ are painting a pretty picture for her either, are they? Lily looks at Hank like a Labrador looking for a treat. Right. Melanie Little was bad today. I haven't even caught Melanie Little's stream because, like I said, I was on Tommy's stream. Usually I do the rounds and go visit everybody and say hi to everyone, give them all a like and a view. So didn't do that today. Need the outrage. We do, right? So some are outrageous enough. I generally go to Melanie Little when I need to match the outrage. She's good for it. So lollygagging about the podium. Tommy says, Jemison, with all seriousness, did you see Lally on Tuesday? Looked like he was crying, and I definitely saw a tear, no joke. So maybe he did have a cry. Hi, Kurt. Thanks for joining us. The Herald had an amazing opinion piece that roasted the prosecution and the judge. Bloody awesome. Oh, that reminds me. Let me get this up to show you this next. That reminds me. Let's get this one up next. Give me 1 second, guys, and I'll find it for you. Oh my God, did I watch that much crap in between? Wait a minute. Oh my God, I did. Hang on, I might have to search it. So I want you guys to listen to this interview that Turtle Boy did. Well, a little bit of it. Anyway, if you want the full thing, I'd suggest you go and watch the live stream, but I thought it was very interesting. Oh shit, where is it? I'll find it in a second. Sorry, guys. What to expect? Visit the Canton PD. Was it that one or was it that one? The arrest outside of court. Here we go. This one here. Let's bring it back to the start and watch it together. Switch screens. This one. All right. I grew up on that street, says Sammy. My family still lives there. There was no mound of snow till hours after John was long gone and Brian probably came out of the house. Right. Prince, good to see you, buddy. Technogeneric, how's it going? Call anyone else before her and the jury will think, remember no one seeing anything first. Right. I think the order that these witnesses go is going to play a big role here for memory's sake because everyone's going to have a hard time remembering shit that goes on for this many months. So I probably missed half of that conversation, did I? Hey, Corn Pope, thanks for popping in. Call Nagel first. So, okay, that's the rest of the conversation. Because she's the only one claiming the black blob existed on the lawn that night. Okay, so do you all know who this Matt Kubaki is? Kubaki? I don't know how to say it. Sorry, I'm sure he's going to say it himself. So he's actually out of Johnson County. He's I think that's Indiana, isn't it? I'm sure people will correct me in the chat. Somewhere in Indiana, maybe. Johnson County. So he's actually the prosecutor there. He's the DA for Johnson County, I think. But anyway, I'll let him do the intro. We'll get back to the intro.
A $2 ticket in the Deaf Lottery could win you $800,000.
Shut up with the ad. I don't want the money. I want the bloody...
Hear me okay?
Yes, I can.
Well, thank you for having me. I was going to come on here and call you daddy at first, but
you don't have to do that.
It's a little weird, so I'm going to call you doctor instead.
It's not required. So I appreciate that.
Right.
So yeah, so you're a prosecutor in John. Tell us about yourself.
Yeah, so I'm a prosecutor in Johnson County. I'm the homicide chief deputy. So basically, if there's a dead body in the county, it's going to have to run through me. So I screen everything. I start from the investigative standpoint. So I work very closely with our law enforcement partners in the county to try to make sure that everything we're doing from start to finish is done not only by the books, but also because we want to make sure that we're actually filing a case that we can prove. I also handle all of the OWI death cases, or those ones that have pretty significant accident reconstruction situations. So I'm very familiar with biomechanics and kind of how all reconstruction matters work. And that dates back to when I first started as a prosecutor in Marion County, which is Indianapolis, which has the highest crime rate in our state. And then I also did criminal defense work for about 6 years before coming back there. So I've kind of done the whole gamut of everything. And this is one case that I rarely give into the conspiracy theory type matters. And I usually hate watching crime documentaries or anything about this, but I kind of fell into your Twitter, and watching all of this, I realized this case is just full of shit. Like, there's no other way to put it. It's like, this is just the weirdest situation
You don't say, buddy.
Where I actually believe there's a cover-up going on here.
Well, I guess the first question would be, what would you do if you were the assistant district attorney and you were handed this case? What would you do?
I'd throw it out.
Not file it at all. I would move forward. I mean, a prosecutor's job, right, is not just to get a conviction. It's to really kind of suss out and figure out what the truth is, right? That's from like the highest sort of philosophical standpoint. And here you've got John O'Keefe, you know, who lost his life. And it's kind of being lost in everything is that it's being made a big mockery about what's going on. And the prosecutor is essentially trying to just get some sort of conviction that, you know, really just figures out if they're credible or not. They're trying to litigate their credibility, not actually find the truth about what actually happened. And I think that's what the most important thing that needs to be done here is looking through it. After that first mistrial with the hung jury, I wouldn't have gone forward with the second prosecution. I would have been done. The first prosecutor shouldn't have done it to begin with, but definitely the second time around, they shouldn't have gone forward now. And I think you're kind of seeing it in how they're handling it.
Well, I've heard reports, and I've reported this, that every assistant district attorney in Michael Morrissey's office either refused to do this or said that they weren't up for it, which is why he had to hire a special prosecutor for this. In your county, do they ever hire special prosecutors? And what are the circumstances in which they do that?
We will. Normally, it's just when there's a conflict of interest. So a defendant has some sort of a connection to somebody in our office or the elected prosecutor. That's typically how we do it. So if a police officer is the one that's arrested, we might do something like that. In this case, it's probably just because nobody wanted it. I mean, it's become probably a laughing stock within the office, and you don't want to be covered in the press, both local and kind of nationwide, looking like a fool. I think the first prosecutor, unfortunately, did that. You know, he looked pretty bad.
Adam Lally?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I mean, he had no personality. He had no flair. He had no charisma. I mean, don't you, as a prosecutor, when you're prosecuting a murder case and you're trying to put a bad guy away, don't you have a little bit of like, I don't know, flair or like passion? Because I mean, you're trying to put a bad guy away. I didn't see that at all from Adam Lally in the first trial.
No,
Oh yeah, I mean, part of the job is kind of just, I always joke around, it's who can bullshit better. And that's kind of what you have to do as an attorney is it's a little bit of theatrics. He didn't have any personality at all. He sort of looked a little slovenly and unkempt, you know, with his jacket unbuttoned. He didn't really seem to want to present any good evidence. He just did a bad job. His presentation of the case was horrible. Then you look at Karen's attorneys, they did a really good job. I thought, you know, Yannetti's closing was one of the best ones I've seen in a long time.
Jackson's closing or Yannetti's
sorry.
opening?
Jackson's closing. I mean, it was just really good. The way they presented everything and the story they told, you know, they don't have any burden at all, right? They don't have to prove anything on the defense side, but they gave forward this really good alternative theory that actually made sense and kind of called into question, why the hell aren't we looking at these other people? Why aren't we looking into, you know, why we had these weird butt dials and butt answers? Why we had a police officer who doesn't come outside of his house when there's a dead body on his lawn?
dude, you're being way too sensible. What's the matter with ya?
You know, and want to do anything. Why is the dog given up 3 months later down the road? All of these things that, you know, you normally don't have in a case, that from a defense attorney standpoint, you're looking at this and kind of licking your chops saying, hey, this is going to be good. And they presented a hell of a case.
Now, what would you do as a prosecutor if you had to work with witnesses like Jennifer McCabe and Brian Albert and others whose story just sounded shady or not believable or tough to sell to a jury? Like for instance, the Google search, the 227 Google search. In fairness, they didn't have that Google search when they charged Karen Reed. But after finding out about that Google search 15 months after the fact, their immediate reaction wasn't to, figure out if this was real. Their immediate reaction was to discredit it. Like they didn't have an expert to discredit it yet. And they just immediately jumped on to protecting Jennifer McCabe. As a prosecutor, if you had witnesses like that, what kind of challenge, what would you do? And what kind of challenge would that be?
In a lot of your cases, you're going to have bad facts and bad witnesses, and you got to confront them head on. And by not doing that, you really look like you have zero credibility, and you look like you're hiding the ball or something from the jury. And jurors look through that, especially in today's day and age where everyone loves true crime drama and they love to kind of suss through things on these podcasts. You're finding more and more of these jurors are really questioning a lot of things. And as a prosecutor, especially because it's your case and it's your burden, if you're not putting it forward, you look bad. I would have, really done just that. And I would have talked with her about it and say, look, we're going to ask you these questions. We're going to come head on with it and try to figure out what we can do. The issue is there's not really a good answer for her, right? So you have the two schools of thought of, okay, it could have been done at 2 something in the morning, which is very plausible. It could have been a 2 a.m. window that was searched at 6 something in the morning, also plausible. But she can't explain away why she deleted that search. And that's probably the one most damning thing that I think completely destroys her credibility in terms of being, a corroborative witness to actually get the prosecutor over the finish line, where she just looks foolish and she honestly becomes a suspect in some way. Which on the defense side, that's really all you have to do is just throw a little bit of mud in the water, and it really takes them down.
Well, it's interesting you mentioned deleting the Google search. So I've never seen this before, and I'm wondering if you have as a prosecutor, where she claims that all of this data from the phone that's saying that she didn't just delete the Google search, she deleted 18 phone calls, that she called John 6 times between 12:40 and 12:50, that the Life 360 data has her daughter out till 1:30 in the morning when she says she's home at 12:30.
Kev, we're actually halfway there. At least it's not repeating itself with the last crap it was saying. But we're still not getting it to trigger with but we're getting there. Sorry guys, we're talking about the bot. Let me just have a quick squiz. Did we actually program Smash? I'll tell you. Coffee, follow, respect, sub, and topic. You remember that, Kev? All right. It's at least not repeating the stupid comment we didn't want it to repeat.
All this stuff. Her answer to that is, I don't know what you're talking about. I didn't delete anything. I don't know. I've never seen. Have you seen a case like this before? I mean, I assume usually as a prosecutor, when you're using phone data, you're using it on the offensive, not the defensive. And what does the defense? What does like a defendant say to that usually? Like, whereas like have you ever seen anything like this where the response, if you confronted your witness, because obviously they're going to be questioned about this. If you confronted Jennifer McCabe and you said, here's 18 deleted phone calls, why did you delete those? And she told you, I didn't delete those. What would you say next?
You're lying to me. You know, you're full of it. You can start to read between the lines. You know, cell phones are, especially in today's day and age, are basically, you know, these miniature computers that hold so much information. And really anyone that knows me from a practice standpoint knows I love when I get cell phone data. In homicide cases, especially, where in our county we're seeing a rise in juvenile homicide related matters. And kids these days love their cell phones, and they're the holy grail of information and evidence for me. So for her to say that she didn't do something, that's not true. She had to have. These things don't disappear. You can't just delete them. You know, there's circumstances where things can happen and glitches can happen, but if she said, I didn't delete them, it's like, well, that's not good enough, and you're gonna have to be honest with me because I don't believe you, and a jury's not gonna believe you. And a defense attorney is gonna jump all over you like white on rice. So you have to do better. You have to actually come clean with me. And if they refuse to do it, sometimes you're just stuck with a turd witness, you know, and there's nothing you
A turd witness. Like, seriously, this guy is way better plugging Celebrite than Celebrite is themselves. Because he gets it, right? It's actually not a good thing to sit there and say Celebrite is wrong, right? Hey, Becky, thanks for joining us. Micah, Pooper Tractor, Hickers, thank you. If you went to a network TV company and told this story, I'd never give it a pilot, as they would never believe the story exactly. You literally can't write it exactly.
can do about it.
That's interesting. I do wonder if I said this earlier in the show. I wonder if Adam Lally and Hank Brennan believe her. Or are they just doing their job? Like when they go home and they lay their head down on their pillows at night, like do they think like, oh yeah, I'm defending the good guys here and Karen Reed's the bad guy? Like I truly wonder that. Whereas like when you prosecute a case, when you prosecute a defendant, has there ever been a time where you've second guessed the defendant's guilt or innocence?
If I did, I wouldn't move forward with it. That's just how I operate. If I truly have questions about what I'm charging, I'm not moving forward on that charge. I'll recharge them. I'll do something different. It's one of the benefits I get in my position is that my elected prosecutor gives me that autonomy to kind of make those decisions and trust me to make the right choices if I have to. But if I was in their position, absent whoever their boss is, absent him saying you got to do it or you lose your job, I just wouldn't move forward with it. And that's probably why the other people in the office didn't want to touch this case.
Wait, what? You'd lose your job? You got to do it or lose your job, but you would choose losing your job. See, that's what's missing here, right? People aren't doing that. Like, yeah, I'm not going to lie for you, DA Morrissey. Take my job. I'll go find another job where I'm allowed to be honest. Right?
Because it just stinks.
Right.
And they don't believe it.
Yeah. So let me ask you something. So because you're from Indiana, I know we have a lot of true crime people here. Are you familiar with the Richard Allen case?
Yeah.
What did you how far is Delphi from Johnson County? Is that far?
It's not too far away. It's I want to say maybe like an hour and some. But one of the attorneys on it,
on the documentary and all this stuff, and you know, I hit him, which she's not going to take. If she doesn't take the stand, then she can't deny that she said I hit him, or anything like that. So, I mean, that's tough to work with, right? As a prosecutor, how do you do that?
Yeah, I mean, because what you're trying to do is, you know, she did the
Bite my bits, right? Are we all in love now? Like he's the whole package.
documentary, and she did other interviews. Would I have had advised my client to do that on the defense side? Probably not. But I don't think what she said was really all that damning, anyways. I've watched the documentary a couple
Okay.
times, and she made some comments, right? You know, some things that you might not want her to say, but essentially, it's a controlled testimony, right? If they're going to use it, and that's the gamble that they took. I just think if you're trying to only use her words that really are kind of arguable, did she say I hit him, or was it did I hit him, or is she, you know, more of a panicky type state when she said it, which doesn't really give a lot of credibility that that's a confession on her end. It might just be more she's saying it in the moment because she's realizing her boyfriend is dead now, which, you know, is shocking for anybody to have to go through. That's kind of selective. It's selecting what piece of evidence you want to use and highlight, and then ignoring the actual forensic thing that's pretty objective, that shows she didn't do it or couldn't have done it.
Yeah, right. So what would you have done as a prosecutor if you got those Proctor texts dumped in your lap by the FBI? Like, how do you prep a wit? Like, what would you have done like, as a prosecutor?
You got it. One, that would have been a big reason why I wouldn't move forward with the case, right? Because it just looks bad. It does. Those texts don't mean Karen couldn't have done it, right? It just looks really bad when your lead investigator is saying that stuff. And we'll get it from time to time where law enforcement will use personal cell phones or back channel on like the call logs and say some things they shouldn't say. And it looks bad. You got to confront it head on. You know, you just got to lead right into it and say like, hey, look, you said something really stupid. We're gonna have to die on the sword for this one and move on.
That
You know,
appears to be what that appears to be what they did.
Yeah, he just looked he tried to get too defensive with it. When you look at his testimony, he tried to get way too cutesy and defensive, and it ended up backfiring. And you know, that's why he got.
What do you mean? What do you mean too defensive? Like trying to explain his way out of it?
Yeah, like he tried to make it seem like it was nothing out of the ordinary, or you know, like when he said, I made some comments, but it wasn't, you know, as bad as it seemed. He kind of made it seem like it wasn't as bad as it was, and then
It's like unprofessional. Shouldn't have said it.
I can't remember what attorney asked. He's like, "Do you do that on all of your cases, where you look for nudes in there?" And he goes, "Well, I don't do that in all the cases, but you did it here." And it's like, it looks stupid. You look really dumb when you have to say that, and that's where a prosecutor's got to protect their witnesses and get that bad information. You don't run from bad evidence. You just don't. You have to
kind of feel like he did.
And this time around, he's been fired, so that's even more. Like if you're Hank Brennan, and you're the prosecutor in this, do you even put Michael Proctor on the stand?
Kind of have to, right?
Yeah, he's your lead investigator.
You don't have a choice, right?
In all fairness, Lally did put him on the stand and he tried to get out in front of it. He just didn't do it the way this guy's saying to do it, basically. But in all fairness, Lally did do that, and I suspect they'll do it again.
Other witnesses are going to be able to talk about the fact that he was, and they have personal knowledge that he was fired, and they're going to be able to talk about some of the things that he may have sent because they're going to have knowledge of it. But, you know, even if they don't put him on, I'd call him as a witness if I was a defense attorney. Put him up there and make him say it again.
A couple things about that. Number one, I think there is kind of a way around it. A way around it would be to just throw Michael Proctor under the bus, say, yeah, he's a piece of shit. That's why he's fired. However, the investigation itself was solid. There's evidence Kara Reed did this. Yeah, he's kind of garbage. We're glad he's gone. But the fact of the matter is Kara Reed shouldn't get away with murder because Michael Proctor is an unethical, immoral person, right? So there is that way. That it's not the best way around it, but to me, it seems like something they might. might do. I mean, what do you think of that?
It's the only way, right? And it's the way they should have done it in the first trial. And that's what I'm saying is they should have taken it straight on with the text and kind of just allow them to die by the sword on the stand on direct, but then reconfirm, like you said, hey, but the rest of the investigation is fine, and that would have been the most appropriate way to do it, but they didn't, right? They tried to just basically allow the defense to bring it up, and then they played defensive on trying to make him not look so crappy, but it didn't work.
In Indiana, in Massachusetts, as you've seen, the district attorney's offices almost have their own private detective forces under their employ, like Michael Proctor and Yuri Buchanan and all these people.
So I was just sitting there yakking away to myself for ages. I was actually asking Brennan, is the bot okay? Do you want to leave the bot going? I don't know. Sorry, I was muted. Let it go. Okay, now I'm confused. Was I muted? I was, wasn't I? God damn it.
Well, basically work out of the DA's office in Canton. And because of that, like they basically work for the DA. Like they're his marching, they do the work for him. So is that what it's like in Indiana? Like if you had like with the state police like this, like do they essentially work for the DA's office?
No. So we'll have investigators that might do things for us in terms of serving witnesses or getting witnesses from point A to point B. But no, all law enforcement agencies are all separate from us.
Okay. And have you ever dealt with a bad cop like this before? That's just tough to put on the stand, or?
Not to this level, no. I mean, I've dealt with officers that have done really dumb things. I mean, law enforcement officers are human beings, to begin with. And so there's really great ones, and the vast majority are really great. And then you got some really bad ones. And usually what ends up happening is the bad ones are like this, and they do really dumb things that.
Hey, Sparkle.
It's unfortunately what it is. And I never had somebody to this level. I've had some
Sammy.
officers that have done some foolish things, questionable things for sure, but never to this level, ever.
I think the problem with this too is that, Michael Proctor is a bad cop. We all agree on that. But he was enabled. Like there's this unwritten code in like Brian Tully, Yuri Buchanan. They're all on those group text messages. And there was this culture where talking like that was okay. And you're not going to be reported to your bosses. And when they find out, and Michael Proctor what's been lost in all this is that Michael Proctor is good friends with the witnesses in the case. And he didn't tell anyone that. And like when the bosses found this out, that should have been like, dude, what the fuck? Why didn't you tell us? Why did you step off this case? Instead, they've all rallied behind him. It's like their immediate instinct is to back each other up. Is that a culture you see a lot?
It can happen, right? It's on the prosecutor side. Sometimes we do have to support our law enforcement officers and that make foolish decisions. Now, on a case like this, is there sometimes groups that will do that within agencies? Sure, I'm sure there is. I've never seen it to this level, but you're right. His involvement with.
Dude, I have been watching all these cops getting done for stuff, not to this level. Like, I get it, it's your job, but that's kind of doing what these guys are doing. Like exactly what he said there, right? Just like sticking up for the blue. So, to this level, maybe he's got a point, but yeah. So I've been watching, as I was saying on Tommy's channel earlier, that, see 4 cops already fired because they were desecrating a corpse just for the fun of it. Like they wanted the young chap who was new on the team to poke the body and burst it. Things like that. Like, I don't think to this level is appropriate, but anyway, I get that he's, I get it. It's his job.
Definitely having a conflict of interest called into question everything. I mean, one of the biggest things was how 2 weeks later he finds all of these taillight fragments when he goes back to the house that weren't found when the state police, first searched, hours after John O'Keefe's body. So that's something that should have, definitely calls into question everything, especially when he has these connections to the people that are inside the house that also happen to be law enforcement officers. So it just looks shady.
Mm-hmm. Now, a lot of people in the chat are asking what you thought of Auntie Bev. Have you dealt with a judge? What are your thoughts about her? And have you ever dealt with a judge like this?
I've
Here we go.
dealt with judges that have been great and judges that have had some power trips on the bench, right? And it's part of it. You know, judges are humans just like all of us, and sometimes they have their good days and their bad days. I thought some of the things that she sustained objections to were a little strange.
A little.
I don't know law in Massachusetts or how things work in terms of how she should have read certain instructions for mistrials for hung juries and stuff. I would have thought she would have done a better job of that in terms of allowing the attorneys to ask questions,
Thanks,
which I know
Norman.
goes to what Karen's current appellate attorneys are doing with the double jeopardy argument.
Oh,
I don't know how successful that will be in the Supreme Court, but I think it's certainly something that's very interesting because that should have been done, and I think that would have been dispositive of the whole
Hey,
thing. But
JC.
also, if I'm the DA's office, I would have looked at that. The fact that it seems by all likelihood that the jury that we had for the first bite, which is usually the best, didn't want to convict her on those big counts. Maybe we shouldn't go forward with it. You know?
Yeah.
Your evidence is not going to get any better, and so that's what you see what the current prosecutor is doing is he's basically on the defensive, trying to keep out. I think you mentioned it earlier, all of the good evidence that Karen Reed's attorneys brought forward, because he doesn't want it. No shit. He doesn't want the good evidence for her coming in, right? He doesn't want the dog bite coming in. He doesn't want the pictures of the arm coming in. He doesn't want all that evidence that shows that she didn't do it, that causes reasonable doubt to come in, because, well, that means his case is a turd.
Would you try to prevent that evidence from coming in as a prosecutor? I mean, how can you say with a straight face that you're looking for truth and justice, which is what prosecutors are supposed to do? How can you honestly say that while trying to prevent experts from testifying, while trying to prevent evidence from being shown in court?
You don't, and I wouldn't. If it was a legitimate, credible expert that was coming in, and it was backed by what our scientific evidence, basically we have a threshold that has to be reached. If it's coming in, it's going to come in, right? And that's just part of it. You have to allow that argument, and you have to say why it doesn't apply. And it's happened before in cases of mine, and you then get a rebuttal expert that says otherwise.
Have you ever been invited on court TV?
No, but it's.
Would you go if you were because their experts are so bad. They have a lot of lawyers on there. I don't know where they find some of these lawyers, but they never have anyone like you on.
Hey, I would love to. It's funny because I was talking with my girlfriend.
He would love to go on court TV. Dude, save your career and don't go on court TV. Let me just reply to James here. Objection without grounds is the abuse. Because what they're doing is they're saying if you don't put your grounds for your objection on the record in front of the jury, then they can't hear what the grounds were. And also, it's not on the record for appeals. So when they go to sidebar, that's on the record. But if it's just objection and she doesn't let them state the grounds and she just says sustained or whatever, she can make excuses that she didn't make any errors. And the prosecution can make excuses because it wasn't spoken what the grounds were. So this is because of appeal. She's doing it so that it can't be preserved for appeals, which is corrupt in itself, in my book.
On this ahead of time that I told you, we both love this. And I told her my dream is to take over for Dan Abrams. So I always say I'm one step closer to knocking him off. So
yeah,
I would love to get paid to talk about this because it's, this is what I get to do for a living. It's fun.
How long have you been a prosecutor?
I have been with Johnson County for 3.5 years now. I was with Marion County for 5, and then criminal defense for 6.
So you went from criminal defense into prosecuting?
Yeah, there's some personal reasons to go back into it, but for the most part, it was just that being a prosecutor is a fun
Isn't
job.
that a salary reduction? I mean, don't you make more in defense?
Oh, yeah. It was
Anyway, they go on a little bit with, a whole bunch of other stuff. So I don't want to play all of it on here because if you want to watch it, I suggest you go over there and watch it. But I wanted to bring up Matt Kibaki because he's actually commenting on Twitter as well while the trial's unfolding. So Interesting, right? So he's actually pretty loud. He's not just coming on people's channels talking about it. He's over there on Twitter tweeting stuff as well. So let me see if I can pull one up for you, and we can go and follow his yeah, let's have a look. Johnson County Prosecutor. Here we go. Let's get that up on the screen. Here we go. You guys can see that? Yes, you can. Good stuff. So yeah, if these truly aren't landing or getting a reaction for anyone, it's only going to get worse for the Commonwealth once the forensic and real evidence is presented. So he's obviously, he knows there's real evidence coming out. So he's replying to Aiden, intently watching juror reaction during these clips. No one is showing any signs that these clips are landing the way Hank wants them to. So most are not even taking any notes. It looks like they're waiting for the juicy part to get here and it's not coming. That's what I guessed was happening too. Judge needs to stop her interjecting herself in the cross when no objections are made. One of my pet peeves. You're essentially a referee and you don't need to act until called upon. If the Commonwealth isn't objecting, even if they should, tough, but don't get involved. So I thought I thought his feedback was actually pretty good. I don't want to engage in any confirmation bias here, but found interesting on direct. She asked Commonwealth if she would be crossed this trial since she wasn't last time. Almost like she knew there was going to be some stuff for sure. Of course. So yeah. He's watching the trial and catching up. Like obviously he's got a day job like everybody, but organically. There you go. I didn't know that. So yeah, so there you go. There's some stuff going on that I thought you all might be interested in to kick off the day. It's not all raging today. Not a lot of venting going on here. There is some venting to be had, although I forget what it is off the top of my head. Hey go Georgia, how about defense counter with positive clips of Karen? So we went through this yesterday. What I think the defense can do, and I don't think Bev can stop them, is to take those clips that Lally showed and play the sentence before and after, because that puts it back into context. Now, there's some lawyers saying, oh, it doesn't matter if they put it into context. I think it does matter, because if you're on the jury and you suddenly realize the thing that you were thinking when you were shown that clip is actually not the thing that she was saying, because now you're seeing the context, I think that's bad for whoever showed you the clip to begin with, right? Whoever tried to make the clip look incriminating. So I don't think it's bad for her at all. I think they just need to save it for closing and play the clips that they think said something mean or, were completely out of context. Those are the ones I think you would save for closing. How's it going, Karen? Thanks for joining us. The judge is annoying with her interference. Of course she is. So, yeah. No worries, Bob. If you want to see the whole interview, go over to TB's channel. It's a couple of days ago now. Let me tell you how far it goes back. It's it's a couple of days ago now. I've lost it again. Where the hell did it go? Yes, it's 3 videos ago from today. So You can go and watch the whole interview if you want to watch. They talked about his case. Aiden asked him, like, if you were the prosecutor, would you prosecute me? So I thought that was a pretty clever way of asking about it and getting an answer. So it's about the hearsay rule versus the completeness of evidence rule. Well, technically it's not hearsay because it's a party opponent. Isn't that right? Isn't that how it goes? Technically it's a party opponent, so it can be used not as hearsay, but the completeness of evidence is the rule. If they want to play through these clips, like the most damaging ones at the end, like during closing, there's not much Bev can do to stop it. She's already made it admissible. She's already allowed it to be used without a witness on the stand, so they can't cross anyone. So I imagine it's going to come up in closing. That's what I would do with it. So yeah, the sentence before and the sentence after, right, Karen? Because your last name's Cole, I keep calling you Carol. Karen Cole, everybody, friend of the channel. Be sure to go and subscribe to her channel because she has some very interesting feedback as a person involved in law, a lawyer in Canada, I believe. I always forget which end of the world you're at right now, either UK or Canada, but she's practicing both. So no worries, Sherry. It's an Australian health hazard. Go Georgia. Judge Bev allowed hearsay today. I know, and then so whenever it's the defense, she's like up their asses about it. So right, Sydney. It's comments from statements by a party opponent, not hearsay. Even if defense accidentally states grounds, which the jury will hear, they will not be part of the record transcript as far as appeal, like it was never said or happened. That's right. That's exactly right. You're on the ball. You're on the money, Scott. Thank you, Carol. Thank you, Karen. I did it again. Bloody hell. Brain's not engaged today. Yes. So she's currently in England. There you go. But she's practiced in Canada. So defense is going to have an expert that explains digital data authentication. Absolutely. We're going to have to get into it eventually because, you know, this whole bits and bytes thing, right? You think Karen's words that hurt or against her interest are admissible, but her defense can add the context. Well, they're admissible because they agreed to it. They stipulated means they had agreement outside of the court. They agreed to the admissibility. They didn't agree, however, to not having a witness on the stand or someone that could be cross-examined. That was not in the agreement. They did not stipulate to that part. So how dare you? People keep asking me about the how dare you. What I don't know what the how dare you is. Sorry, over my head. Does anyone else know what that is? How dare you? Oh, you mean Grant? The Grant Ellis Smith, how dare you? Is that what you're talking about? Right. Kerry started the day on GMA and ended the day on TMZ. Pretty good. It was good. Kerry had a bit of Jen McCabe's sassiness. Yeah, she was using the JM playbook, wasn't she? For sure. Oh, whoops. That wasn't supposed to happen. Massachusetts does not appear like it's a US Constitution friendly state. Apparently not. And apparently this was common knowledge before this trial. I mean, I knew it before this trial. I don't know how many other people knew it before this trial, but I had heard a lot of people who live in Mass have been upset about it for quite some time. So yeah. No, it's a new song. Whose song is it? By Derek Carney. Oh. Okay, let me find it. Derek. Are you talking about the one I posted the other day? Hang on. I like this. I liked the film clip that went with it. Flossie Magetta, how dare you? Yeah, that's the one I posted the other day. All right, let's do it. Flossie McGo-getter. Hang on. How dare you? There we go. Opened it. It is actually a pretty good little tune, and it's catchy, and I found it was very pleasing to look at, like the way it works. It's AI stuff, so hang on. I'm messing up my clicks here. Get your clicks together, Aussie. All right, we're all on the screen. We can see what's going on.
Won't find a fingerprint, how dare you? How dare you? Won't find one drop of spit, how dare you? How dare you? There's no evidence here, how dare you? How dare you? But the truth falls on a deaf ear. I'm innocent, how dare you? Magnificent, how dare you? Your accusations are not based in reality, and I deserve much better than you're treating me. When you die, you will see what a monster you've been to me. Is my love not enough? Can't you just be happy in this love? Why you gotta make it so rough when we've been blessed with this gift from above? Won't find a thing. How dare you? How dare you? How dare you? How dare you? Won't find one drop of spit. How dare you? How dare you? There's no evidence here. How dare you? How dare you? But the truth falls on a deaf ear. I'm innocent. How dare you? Magnificent. How dare you? You my one. You're my 1, 2. You're my 1, 2, 3. I love dare you? Magnificent. How dare you? Get yourself right, 'cause I absolutely don't deserve this. And I've put up with it for way too long. Better wise up, straight up. Get it together, wise up.
There you go, guys. Flossie McGo-Getter is the man. Very cool, right? He's very, very clever with the AI. He's certainly got more money to spend on it than I do. If I'm going to spend my money on the AI, it's going to be write another tune. But it's incredible and scary, right? Wrong one. It's incredible and scary, right? But it is a great tune. He did very well with the tune. So, it's really easy to just get the AI to make you a tune, but picking the right tune, picking the right feel of the tune, getting the lyrics to feel good and match your tune, all of that takes a little bit of expertise, and he's so got it in like spades. Spades more than me. So very clever. Oh, he was? Gosh, I hope he makes some money out of it then. That's I hope he's not anymore. He's not now, is he? Somebody give the guy a room. Somebody help the guy out. But yeah, great, catchy, and totally riveting. Like I love the AI doing the faces and stuff. So I did play with that. I did a couple of just mucking around with things, like not in a music format. Just getting the witnesses that we wanted to say something to like actually come out and say something, things like that. So he's in SF. What's SF, Micah? I don't know what SF is, but I hope that's a good thing. Is that a good thing? Oh, thank you, Melissa. But yeah, he definitely got me jiggling in my seat. Like I like electronica. If there's two genres that I like, it's definitely the ones that I play on my channel and electronica. I didn't make any electronica, or did I? I think I'm in San Francisco. Gotcha. He's in San Francisco, but he's not homeless anymore, right? San Fran. Thanks, guys. I didn't put the two and two together. Yeah, so I don't know if you guys know, but I actually wrote a whole album. And it's got lots of different styles of music. Most of it I don't like. It's I wrote it for you guys, just so that everybody here had, a music style that they all like, that could be. Shush up. Sorry. I'm just getting the link for you if you want to go and listen to the whole album, which I don't have the bot advertising. That's the whole album. That's the whole playlist. It's actually all of them. It's album 1, plus I've made a few more singles since then. So he's in the California Bay Area, only a few hours from me. Give him a room, JC. It's that catchy, isn't it, Trisha? It is that catchy. So I guess music is a great thing for a vent stream. Like it helps you to vent, but on the same token, it doesn't leave you cranky, right? Whereas just straight out venting does. So banking is venting and cranking at the same time. Okay, I think we should have a couple more tunes to listen to. What do you reckon? Just to make the night go for a little longer. Let's have a look. I did get a We Ain't Got No Quit tune, which was not really... I can't play it actually, because that one I actually made an extended track of someone else's music, and I keep getting bloody copyright struck for it. So let me just find tell me what song you want me to play, guys. I mean, I've got the whole playlist, but if anyone's got a favorite, Free Karen Reid, both albums. Here we go. I don't want to go into any of the sad, slow tunes because we just had a good, upbeat, happy tune, right? Here we go.
Break the system. I'm Karen fucking Reid, I ain't no Karen fucking Reid, I ain't no coward. Police trying to frame me, but I'm empowered. Turned down a plea deal, chose to fight against corruption. I'm shining bright. I ain't no snitch, won't be a rat. My name is known, they can't combat. They thought they had me, but I'm free. I'll bring them down, just wait and see. Karen fucking Reid, I'm on a mission to expose the truth, no competition. I'll flex on them haters, show them who's boss. Defying the odds, ain't taking no loss. They can't handle me, I'm too real. I'll take them down, make them kneel. The system's corrupt, but I'll prevail. Karen fucking Reid, I won't fail. I'm ballin' on these bitches, watch me shine. Karen fucking Reid on the front line. The truth will come out, just wait and see. I'm fighting for justice, and that's on me. So watch out, corrupt niggas beware. Karen fucking Reid, I'm coming for your lair. I'll expose the lines, break the chains, frame the system, that's where I reign. Woo! Karen fucking Reid, I ain't no coward. Police true.
I like a little bit of hip hop sometimes.
Karen fucking Reid, I'm on a mission to expose the truth, no competition. I'll flex on them haters, show them who's boss. Defying the odds, they taking no loss. They can't handle me, I'm too real. I'll take them down, make them kneel. The system's corrupt, but I'll prevail. Karen fucking Reid, I won't fail. I'm falling on these bitches, watch me shine. Karen fucking Reid on the front line. The truth will come out, just wait and see. I fight for justice, and that's on me.
Yes, JC, I'll play yours
Watch out,
next.
corrupt niggas beware. Karen fucking Reid, I'm coming for your lair. I'll look for your lair. I'll expose the lies, break the chains, frame the system, that's where I reign. Woo, 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 woo. I'm falling on these bitches, watch me shine. Karen fucking Reid, I ain't no coward. No coward, no coward.
There you go. There's that one. Let's pop JC's track up next. Music always makes you feel better, right? It does for me anyway. JC, the Music Man, for those who don't know.
In fact, this is my first try.
And I ask only that you keep your voice up, please.
This is one of the two opportunities that I will get to address you. Karen Reid was framed. The first of which right now, essentially what I'm going to attempt to do, and I know you heard. Karen Reid was framed. A car never struck John O'Keefe? Nope. Karen Reid was framed for a murder she did not commit.
Tyranny of injustice.
Karen Reid was framed. A car never struck John O'Keefe? Ridiculous. Karen Reid was framed for a murder she did not commit.
Of injustice.
No accident. John O'Keefe was found dead on the front lawn of 24th Road. Police, EMTs, firefighters, police cruisers, and an ambulance, fire truck, lights flashing.
It's a huge problem for the Commonwealth.
The police did no real investigation of this case. You will question why. You'll question why the investigators had such tunnel vision. Right from the jump, Michael Proctor predetermined the outcome of this case.
She's fucked.
Think that's appropriate?
Absolutely not.
All right, Mr. Lally.
Who, if anyone, was driving the ambulance?
I don't know.
Who, if anyone, arrived first?
I don't recall.
Obviously, at some point you wake up, correct?
No. Thank you. Calm off. Rest.
Look the other way.
Was framed.
Magic hairs.
A car never struck John O'Keefe.
Magic glass. Look the other way.
Was framed for a murder she did not commit.
Kind of like a butt dial.
Karen Reed was framed.
Butt dial.
A car never struck John O'Keefe.
Butt dial.
Karen Reed was framed for a murder she did not commit.
Butt dial.
Karen Reed was framed. Wait for us. A car never struck John O'Keefe. You'll be glad that Karen Reed was framed for a murder she did not commit.
Your job is to make sure you don't ever look the other way. Your job is to make sure you don't ever look the other way. Your job is to make sure you don't ever look the other way. Karen Reed is innocent. Do justice and find her not guilty. And your job is to make sure you don't ever look the other way. Look the other way.
4 words that sum up their entire case. 4 words that sum up the hopes of those who tried to deceive you. Conflicts of interest doesn't matter. Look the other way. Magic hairs, magic glass. Look the other way. Late night calls and Google searches. Falsified affidavits, inverted videos, and butt dials galore. Just look the other way. That's what they want. That's what they're counting on. But the incontrovertible fact is you have been lied to. And your job is to make sure you don't ever look the other way. 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 4 words that sum up their entire case. 4 words that sum up the hopes of those who tried to deceive you. Conflicts of interest doesn't matter. Look the other way. Magic hairs, magic glass. Look the other way. Late night calls and Google searches. Falsified affidavits, inverted videos, and butt dials galore. Just look the other way. That's what they want. That's what they're counting on. But the incontrovertible fact is you have been lied to. And your job is to make sure you don't ever look the other way. Look the other way. Look the other way. Look the other way.
Look the other way. 4 words that sum up the Commonwealth's entire case. 4 words that sum up the hopes of those who have tried to deceive you. Conflicts of interest? Doesn't matter. Just look the other way. Magic hairs, magic glass. Look the other way. Late night calls and Google searches, falsified affidavits, inverted videos, and butt dials galore. Just look the other way. That's what they want. That's what they're counting on, but the uncontrovertible fact is you have been lied to in this courtroom.
I'm doing DJ
and your
today.
job is to make sure you don't ever look the other way.
Okay, time to finally finish the new product descriptions on the website.
That is the Commonwealth grasping at straws. If it walks like a duck and talks like a duck, it's a duck.
Judge's gavel slams to seat. Lawyers dance, twist up their seat. Finger points truth in the air. Crime scene chalk, we got there. Witness falls under the glare. Truth lies hidden, but where? Evidence in shadow cracks. Guilty walks with ducks and packs. If it walks like a duck and talks like a duck, it's a duck. If it quacks with a smack and waddles in the track, it's stuck. It circles round the facts, can't hide from the luck. If it walks like a duck and talks like a duck, it's a duck. Twist the tail, they change their tune. Photos snapped under the moon. Bloody prints and muddy paths. Money trails that never last. Defendant's face behind a mask. Justice chained up to the past. Solitary cell they spin. Real truth trapped deep within. If it walks like a duck and talks like a duck, it's a duck. If it quacks with a smack and waddles in the track, it's stuck. It circles round the facts, can't hide from the luck. If it walks like a duck and talks like a duck, it's a duck.
Gotta have those sirens in there, right? There you go, guys. Bit of music for the day. Always leaves you feeling better, right? When you want to chuck things at your screen, come here and we'll play some music for you. Ducking great, Erica says. All right, I am sorry about Restream doing that. Let me go and check what the hell it did, because oh, it did. It started a whole new stream. God damn it. I don't know why. I probably should just cancel that other stream, right? So that nobody's getting to the wrong one. That's just stupid. Oh, well, at least you all got your alerts, because I had this set for much later in the morning. Well, night for you guys. Oh no, Michelle, I'm sorry. I had it set for much later in the morning, so you might not have got your notifications had it not started a whole new stream. So at least you got the notifications. No worries, Norman. It's been a shit show, all right, hasn't it? So let me go and have a quick looky at my notes, what we found out. What made me cranky today? Oh, old mate talking about lactic acid. Everything was measured by the lactic acid. Well, nearly everything Karen was going through that day actually increases your lactic acids, including increased ephemetric. Why can't I say it? It won't come out my mouth properly. Adrenaline. That also increases your lactic acids. Also, the female menstrual cycle also increases your lactic acids. I also found out that stress. What else was in the list? Oh, yeah, Massachusetts actually won't accept blood samples taken 9 hours after the event as well. I found that out. So hormone fluctuation also affects your lactic acids because she was actually menstruating at the time. Reduced oxygen because of that as well. Changes in your metabolism. Exercise, if she'd just been running around. Oh, yes. Come to think of it, she had running all over the place in a frantic bloody panic. So, and also diet, depending on what her diet was, but also her whether or not she'd eaten before, during, or after drinking. So we need to get the duckies out to march in the harbour. Yes. So that was my notes on that. So lactic acid levels can increase during all of those events, and Karen was experiencing all of them, including what we found out from Liza Little, anemia. I didn't know that anemia was one of them, but adrenaline's definitely another one. It shifts the anaerobic metabolism. I don't know why I can't say these words today. They're just not, and my brain's thinking them, they're just not coming out my mouth. So, yes, plus a health condition. So something we talked about on Tommy's stream was that she's missing half a bowel. So your intestines is where all of the alcohol is absorbed through. Most of the alcohol is absorbed through your intestines. So if you're missing half of them, then your intestines are absorbing a higher concentration of alcohol, which actually would bump all of your readings up pretty high. So not in a real court, but we're not in a real court. Do we know what the first sidebar was about today, the one before court started? No idea. It was probably about their openings. She gave them opening statements before the viewing. So, because that's what they came straight out the gate with. So I would say they were just ironing out what the judge was going to let them say about their openings. And then she agreed to let them say it. And she still had to butt in and say her own thing. Don't listen to the defense attorneys. They're just pulling your leg. Don't do any investigation yourself. So, yeah, pain in the backside. How's it going, Miss Mandy? Thanks for joining us. And Jack the Ripper and Ripper Jack Media. Jack the Ripper, I was going to call you. Thanks for joining us. Yeah, so I think that's what it was about, to be honest. The one that concerned me was the sidebar when Brennan was trying to get, I forget his name now, is it Decker or Becker, to say what he wanted him to say. That one concerned me because it's like she gave Lally the thumbs up to go and keep harassing the poor guy. So yeah, sorry about that, Jack. Considering the previous morning, it was likely something shady. Right. I was saying all of the sidebars are generally Hanky chucking his dinky in the ring, his binky in the ring. I can't even say anything straight today. Oh my God. It's all coming out my mouth backwards. I was doing so well on Tommy's stream, wasn't I? Welcome back, Anne. So when Brennan was trying to rehabilitate his witness, yeah, that one That one I was concerned about because it seems like she just gave him the go ahead. Yeah, just say whatever you got to say, Brennan, and we don't care if you're leading or whatever. Like, I know he's got on a recross or redirect, he's got a little bit more. Your sticker got wrinkled. My sticker got wrinkled. I'm not sure what sticker you're talking about. Are you talking about your thingamajig? You're talking about your profile picture, I think. Also, the sidebar when I know, AJ requested a sidebar, which she's just like, no, you can't have that sidebar. And then she called a sidebar anyway. More lawyer reacts bids. I'm getting there. I am getting there. I've been a little sidetracked this week because my grandma had a stroke. So just getting updates and staying in contact with the family about what's going on there. So it's a little sidetrack, but I will be doing some more attorney react videos. So it'll work like this, probably from here on in. The previous week will be what I do the react videos on, so we can include more lawyers and have a wider range of reactions. And that sort of, it makes the videos a little bit more pleasant to watch. So Karen says, I thought the instructions to the jury, defendant doesn't have to put on a case. She said it too many times. She knows defendant is going to put on a defense. Reminds me of when Ronnie said distractors. Right. Well, hopefully no one's thinking distractors this time. It's a completely new trial and a new jury. So hopefully they've got their thinking caps on, right? JC, we need a new bingo card for all potential expert Hank wants. Expert on heart rate and conspiratorial behavior. Right. We need a Lanigan hearing for his heart rate expert that connects Jen McCabe's heart rate to whether or not she was Googling how long to die in the cold. She's getting there. Her sass is back, so that's a start. When the sass goes, it's all downhill from there, but her sass is back, so thank you, Amina. I did wonder if he ever dealt with Judge Gull. Right? Judge Bev is like, hey, Gull, hold my White Claw. Thank you, Wilma. So, yeah, hopefully when we get to the mashups, we're going to have a wider range of lawyers to stick in the mashup, because if we do it too quickly, like I think we've only got 3 who are actually doing it live. Everybody else has got a day job, so it's when they get to it. Runkle's pretty quick in getting his own daily recaps out. DUI guy's a little bit slower on getting them out. He runs a whole business. I don't even know how Andrea does it, to be honest. She's running a whole business and she's sitting through the trials. So, but yeah, if we just give it a week and then the other lawyers get their reaction videos or their daily recaps out, then we've got more to include. So, all right, Erica, ciao. Thanks for joining us. So what other notes did I take today? I wasn't as much on the notes today because I was with Tommy on the live stream. So I did actually look up what hospital policies are governed by, like, because you're going to have this is the federal standard they'll have to meet, and then you're going to have your state standard as well. So I did actually look up about that. So you've got informed consent, which I'm pretty sure Karen didn't give. I know that she gave consent to take her blood and a urine for her medical conditions, but taking them for testing for alcohol, drugs, or toxins, that has to be informed consent. and handing it over to law enforcement without a warrant or her consent, I believe, goes against Massachusetts and federal law. So, so you need informed consent in the way of explicit consent, not just she gave consent for the test for health, but explicit consent. And they need to have an authority like a court or a warrant, basically, for the hospital to hand it over. So this chain of custody concerns there as well, although I believe that the hospital only handed over results, not the actual blood evidence itself. So there's blood serum handling guidelines. There's blood serum being used as alcohol testing guidelines. They absolutely should not be used in forensic use, like for a court of law. If blood serum is needed for alcohol testing in the context of a criminal case, the hospital must adhere to legal requirements, subpoenas, warrants, court orders, informed consent, forensic purposes, which he didn't do. So, and I already told you, he admitted on the stand that he didn't apply the adjustment to adjust his serum to, I don't know if it was serum or plasma because they're both two different things, but it should have been 25% for serum and 30% plasma adjustment to bring it back to whole blood. And he admitted that he didn't do that. He just like went, yeah, I read something about whole blood, didn't listen, didn't take much notice. So in Massachusetts, blood serum is a liquid portion of the blood that has been separated after the clotting process. He also used a clotting prevention chemical as well. So I don't know if that affects things, but serum alcohol levels can be different from whole blood alcohol levels because it's not whole blood, obviously. And it's less accurate. Massachusetts law on alcohol testing, Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 90, Section 24 governs driving under the influence, offences, how the blood testing should be taken, and approved methods, only approved methods, which typically involve whole blood, not serum or plasma. Extrapolation taken from hours after the event is generally not reliable because it's performed by, unless it's performed by qualified forensic toxicologists, which they are not. And it takes into account the body's absorption, distribution, metabolism, and elimination of alcohol over time. He did it on the lactic acid and not the standard, which is ethanol. Commonwealth of Massachusetts typically requires blood alcohol tests be conducted using the approved methods outlined in the Massachusetts State Police Crime Laboratory, which is the accredited forensic toxicology, not the one that he used. So serum alcohol levels are not widely accepted for extrapolation purposes, since the serum can be affected by external factors, including transportation, storage, and time lapse between collection and testing. They said it was an hour. No, they said it was 5 minutes. So they got that covered at least. So yeah, there was all of that stuff that I thought was interesting. And I think Liza Little got enough out of him. Like, I think that him using these really big words, I think the jury's just going to revert back to Liza Little's simple words, because he just went off on a tangent. Nobody cares about your chemical analysis, dude. So I think the jury will actually just revert back to the simple one that they got from Liz. I don't think they're going to get too lost in his explanation. Like, you could, because you think, well, he's a chemist, he's supposed to know, but I don't think everyone's going to buy into that. So, yes, they did need a warrant and they didn't have one. So, no, they just they needed a warrant whether they wanted the actual blood itself or if they wanted the results. They needed a warrant either way. But they didn't take the actual blood with them. They just took the results. So they didn't have a warrant. And they didn't have her explicit consent to do it because they didn't tell her what they were doing with it. And here's the other thing that I think Liza probably should have said is our client is not on trial for DUI. Our client is on trial for murder. Murder. Not a DUI. So, where are we? Oh, the miles per hour thing. Rightio. So, some points that came up on X sort of after opening statements and people were like slowly catching up were included. Let me just get this back to the post I made on this. This post here. I don't know if you've all seen this post, but I did put it up there for you to look at. So when Lally gave his opening statements, he said it was 62 feet over 56 seconds, which if you multiply that out, that's actually not even 1 mile an hour. It's 3/4 of a mile per hour. Then Brennan comes up and says, well, she moved forward 35 feet and then she reversed 75 feet over 20 seconds. Well, that's still not quite 2.5 miles per hour. So how are they getting 24 miles per hour out of any of this? Like, really? So that was something else that I went into today in my notes, just looking at those numbers. Even if we're saying like the last 5 seconds they covered 55 feet and that's where she got up to 24 miles per hour. Well, that still only gives you room to get up to 7 miles per hour or 7.5 miles per hour. So people are throwing a lot of numbers around and it's a very simple equation. It's time over speed, isn't it? So it's not a hard equation, guys. You don't need to be a rocket scientist. Some of the other calculations and formulas, yeah, they're getting complex, like the blood alcohol level and stuff like that. Those are definitely more complex, but how fast something was traveling over time is not. This is grade freaking 8 maths, okay? This is not complex. Yet somehow Morrissey, Lally, and Brennan can't freaking do it. Hey, Joanna, thanks for joining us. So yeah, that was my little vent thing on these guys. They can't do their maths. So on top of all of that, the maximum speed that this particular vehicle goes is 16 miles per hour backwards. And I'll tell you why. Because the Lexus GX 570, it has a 5.7 litre V8 engine and it has specific reverse speed limits, which are typically governed electronically for safety and operational control. So the point being, if the drivetrain is going to bust going 24 miles per hour, for example, then the company that owns it will govern it or limit that speed in reverse to below the busting point, because they don't need to have that vehicle returned to them for warranty because someone busted it going backwards. So these are really common things that you will find all automakers build into their vehicles. If we're talking about Karen's Lexus being an automatic transmission, then it's probably going to have a lower governed speed in reverse than, say, a manual, because it's an automatic, because it's got smaller gears, I guess you could say, or gear ratio than a manual would have. So it would be governed around 10 to 15 miles per hour. There's no way she's getting up to those speeds in reverse. End of story. It's governed. It's not going to do it. There's also safety standards, I think, for each state as to what speed vehicles are allowed to go in reverse. And they are, right, to not allowed to, exactly, JC, it can't self-destruct. You cannot drive it faster than they govern it at, so it doesn't self-destruct. Exactly. But I also believe that states actually have different speeds. So that same Lexus sold here in Australia wouldn't be allowed to do any more than 7 miles per hour in reverse, because that is what all of our states have set as a max speed in reverse. So there's also that. So each company that makes these vehicles not only sets their manufacturer specific limit, so you can't break shit, but they also have to have the ability to adjust that depending where they're selling the vehicle. So it's an electronic setting in the vehicle. So if they sell that same GX 570 here in Australia, then they have to actually adjust that reverse governing down to under 7 miles per hour. So similar to what Karen said in her video. Too many questions. Those speeds would wreck your whatever it's called, right? So here's the thing with Aidan Carney's test. So I found his test very interesting, but what we did find is that he couldn't actually get it up past 19 miles per hour. So he's got like the sports version of this Lexus. It's probably the same year model or in that range, but his is a 6-cylinder. It's not a big 4-wheel drive jobby. It's just a small sports version. So I don't think he was going to get past 19 miles per hour in his testing. I think that was his limit. He was never going to get anything more out of it, just because that's the limit for that vehicle. So it's because they are trying to fit a round peg in a square hole. Exactly, Norman. Using the data from the black box only proves it was in the snow stuck. I don't even think they're using the data from the black box. I think they're wholly inventing the data from the black box, to be honest. None of it adds up anyway. Even Trooper Paul saying 65 feet. This adds up to 65 feet. So I took his second spreadsheet that he used to calculate the 65 feet, and it doesn't even add up to 65 feet. It actually adds up to 100 and something. I can't remember off the top of my head. No, 1,000. It ends up 1,068 feet or something. His own spreadsheet, the second one that he pulled up in evidence. So they're not even using the actual Lexus's data anyway. So right. Each country does, apparently. I didn't know it either until I started researching it. I mean, half this shit I didn't know until I researched it, Karen. So I learned because I'm trying to give you guys valid information instead of letting you be led up the garden path by the BS that they're telling you on the stand. So what were the other factors in this? The electronic speed governor that's in most luxury SUVs, not just the LX 570. The electronic speed governor limits the maximum reverse speed for safety, and it's electronic specifically, so it can be adjusted depending on where the vehicle is sold. Transmission and drivetrain, because this is an automatic transmission, it's a 6-speed, 1-speed reverse. Reverse speeds are intentionally limited in automatic transmissions for gear protection, so you don't chew out the cogs on your gears, basically. But we already went through those, the size of those cogs or the ratio of those cogs in a previous video, talking about even if it wasn't governed, you still could only get so much speed because there's only one cog in that gearbox because it's an automatic. So anyway, it's all restricted to prevent overloading the drivetrain while in low range gearing, like rock crawling, for example, which that car is designed to do, which is why I say Aiden's car probably doesn't have the same capabilities as Karen's car, although his is a sports model, so he will get more speed than her car. So your salary is your speed regulator, Glenn. Thanks for joining us. You've been entertaining us all day, dude. Do you ever sleep, Glenn? Everyone asks me that question, so I get to ask you, do you ever sleep? When do you ever sleep, Glenn? Norman says there is actually a sensor in the car that will tell you how far the car traveled that doesn't use the wheel speed. It uses longitude and latitude. Right. There is. It also uses pitch and yaw as well. And also what's forward and backwards. Pitch, yaw, and tilt forwards and backwards as to how much the car rocked when you hit the brakes or whatever. So Karen says, when I litigated car crashes for our country, solicitors office guess what type of car was that had a lot of accidents? A Lexus? Is it the Toyota Lexus? Apparently, apparently you do, Glenn, because when do you have time to do it any other time? Is it Lexus, Karen? I'm a little bit ahead of you guys, or you guys are a bit behind me, so I'll wait for that answer. Where are we? What else did I research on that? For the Lexus 2021 GX 570, the maximum reverse speed is likely to be around 10 to 15 miles per hour. However, high-speed reverse driving is not intended for normal operation and should be avoided, as it puts excessive strain on the transmission and it will void your warranty. The vehicle's reverse speed governor would prevent it from going much faster than this threshold. I know, my headphones just died. Oh, no, I think they just stopped because I wasn't using them. They didn't die. Okay, that's good, because if I've got them on, I'm probably yelling at you. Sorry. Yes, JC, I think they intentionally destroyed the data. But here's the thing, the infotainment system doesn't actually store any of this data. That's the dumb thing about their story. The infotainment does store information about phones connecting, disconnecting, GPS, stuff like that. It doesn't store any of the text stream data. That comes from those other chips. There's one behind the horn in the steering wheel. That one's like the main one. If you're using... I've got to remember all the jargon for this now. There's two types of text stream. One's the old OBDS plug-in, and that's for older mechanics who don't have the newer tech. And the other one's in the dash itself, under the dash itself. Those are the two main chips that store the Lexus text stream data. The infotainment system doesn't store that data. Although it might draw on that data. It might actually query one of those other systems to make its own whatever calculations. But I'm pretty sure the text stream data doesn't come from the infotainment system at all. So isn't it just system-based drivers and other nonsense in 2 or 3 chips? Correct, it is. So what's frustrating about it is that they're saying they're going to change their timeline and the data this time because they supposedly found all this other data in the infotainment system, which doesn't store that data. And secondly, can't store any more than it already had because they got their bits and bytes mixed up. But it is only 2 or 3 chips on the entire car that record these particular systems. So yes, you're right. I thought it was because Oh, it's BMW, not Lexus. Gotcha. Sorry, I actually missed it because I was yakking my head off, and I missed you saying it was BMW. But yeah, I'm following now. What was I saying? I completely forgot what I was saying. So yeah, it was really frustrating because what they're claiming is that a complete system-wide failure with 2 of 3 chips. Then they claim on top of that, the completely independent infotainment system also had a failure. And then on top of all of that, somehow the cameras at the library and down the road at the church all had, failures. So, and then the glitches in the Sally port, somehow they're all connected to Karen's Lexus breaking down and having a system-wide failure. So, sure, Shagesh, would you like a vent? Have the trolls been making any specific claims about the new tech stream data? They have. Oh, they've got all this new tech stream data that proves X, Y, and Z. I actually have them all blocked, so I cannot tell you what claims they're making. I know they're making them because everyone's venting, but I don't know what the claims are, to be honest. So, I'm happy for people to come up and have a vent, but I just have to be careful who comes up and what they're venting about, because we have had gate crashes before who try to take over the stream, and we don't need anyone whipping their duds down and chucking us a brown eye and stuff like that, right? So, but what do you want to vent about, Sugesh? One of the experts, IRCC Giora Dieselgra, is great with car data. I can't say his name. I just called him Matty. I think that's who you're talking about, but we just nicknamed him Matty because I can't say his freaking name. If you're talking about the defense experts, I think that's who you're talking about. So I think she's talking about the defense. I think his name is Desogra. I don't know how you say that. No brown eyes in the chat, please. That was Aussie speak. That means, what do you guys call it? What do Americans call it when someone pulls their pants down and pokes their butt out the window as you're driving past? We call them brown eyes. You have the on-off switch. What are they called in America? Yeah, I thought you were talking about the defense expert. I think his first name's Matt, if I remember correctly. Matty? Or am I wrong? Yeah, it is Matt. Thank you, Matt. Exactly. What do you guys call a brown eye? Moon. That's another one. But Michelle, you're Australian. How do you know what they call them? Flashes? You call them flashes? Mooning? American. Here we go. American dreamer. You're an American, obviously. It's mooning. So for it, Fern's mum said it too. Mooner. A moon. Mooner. Okay, I got it. Mooning. Gotcha. UK calls them moonies. Full moon over again. Right. Well, see, in Australia, a full moon is like a different thing altogether. Sydney. In Australia, mooning is like when you have your monthly cycle and you're having a bad mood moment. That's mooning. It's funny, isn't it? Flashing is a frontal. Okay, butterscotch. Thank you. There you go. I know stuff too, Ozzy. You know American stuff. I know we're getting educated here by the Yanks. It was pretty funny because every time I said bitumen, Michelle, everyone was like, "What is she swearing?" No one knew what I was talking about. So we're getting educated in American. They are claiming the infotainment system shows John get out of the car at 12:31 because the door opened. They don't have any of that data. It's BS. If they had that data, it would destroy the case. I think they're making shit up, Norman. I heard Hank say the 12:31 thing was when John's phone disconnected from the Lexus because it'd be recorded on his phone that he has the Bluetooth disconnection recorded on his phone, not because it came from the infotainment system. So I think they're just making shit up as they go, to be honest. So, hey, wait, who's the tech stream expert? Isn't it Arca? The defense tech stream expert is Arca, isn't it? I'm pretty sure. I don't know. See, I couldn't connect who was who in their witness list. PMS is moaning here, not mooning. Yeah, asphalt. Right. So you knew what I meant. Yeah, I don't know who the tech stream expert is for the defense. Fill me in. I thought one of the ARCA guys was legit tech expert specifically for Toyota tech stream. Hey Kathy, you're late, but you're here. Better late than never, eh? But yeah, I don't know who Dr. Wolf wrote papers about the Toyota tech stream. Yeah, that's what I thought. So Dr. Wolf is the tech stream expert, and Dr. Rentschler, is that his name? Is the biometrics expert. How's it going, Harley Mouse? Thanks for joining us. Or Shannon. Hang on. Shannon is the expert, maybe. Norman says, absolutely, the Bluetooth can take a minute before the phone kicks. You probably kicks you completely out. It does on my phone. There you go. I got a much older car, and I don't have any fancy. It does have a tech stream chip in it, but I don't have any Bluetooth or anything fancy like that on it. So yeah, that's what I was seeing here. It was the ARCA guys. Absolutely. It was the ARCA guys. So I think it was Dr. Wolf who was the tech stream expert last trial. Well, I don't know who it is this trial. So no salt on the tail light. Oh, I missed it. The chat's jumping on me. Wait, where did it go? No, wrong one. It all went too fast on me. Here we go. No salt on the tail light after it was supposedly broken, exposed to road salt and snow. Correct. Lon Solo. Correct. Faster if it's been previously connected. There you go. There you go. So yeah, I don't think they got any more data out of those chips than they already had. So they've got it's like a push pop system that happens in the chip. When it's full, it pushes out the earliest record and pushes in the newest record. So it's a push pop kind of system. So it's always full, basically. So if your chip says it can give you 64 megabits, not megabytes, but 64 megabits, then that's all it's going to have. And if they already got that 64 megabits, which it sounds like they did, if you're listening to the defense experts who seem to know bits from bytes, then there's no more data. There was never going to be any more data coming out of those chips. I think the expert for the Commonwealth knew that, but he just spun up a story so that they can change their theory and the data. He did not discuss the text stream because Bev ruled it out, said he couldn't discuss the text stream. He would have massacred Trooper Paul and Gorina, exactly. Now, I'm pretty sure I remember Bev ruled out that they couldn't opine on the text stream. So I don't know if she has again this time. So I have to wonder if maybe that is what their extra reporting might be on. There's a couple of things. Bev's trying to stop them from, like, she wants whatever extra testing they're doing. They want the reports on that by Monday. But I think there's a couple of things they could be testing. They could just do what Tommy suggested this morning, jump in the Lexus, reverse it foot to the floor, and find out that it's governed at 10 to 15 miles per hour, like I said. They could do that test. But they could also be writing up reports to counter the text stream data that Commonwealth's going to use in the trial, because now they're changing their theory. So that is probably more likely. So there you go. Fear of the feds. Yes, she's terrified of the feds. It's Occam's razor at this point. Grave concerns till now. Reversal of the MD motion to dismiss. Yeah, exactly. She's petrified with nothing but fishing and assertions. So this whole thing is political. That's what bugs me about the whole thing. Like, her fear of the feds, it's political, because Morrissey said, "Oh my God, they're investigating my office." That's got nothing to do with whether or not O'Keefe was killed by Karen Reid's car. So why is it even coming into this trial? Why is she afraid of the feds? It's because it's politics. That's why. Plus, she's already screwed the whole thing up. The entire friggin' ARCA thing started on her due process violation of Karen's due process rights, because she was entitled to have those ARCA experts to begin with. So MD is medical doctor. Reversal of the medical doc. Oh, that's going to happen for sure. We heard that AJ. We heard who gave it. AJ. We heard AJ say it in opening statements, so we know that's coming. JC says, I think ARCA basically said the physics don't lie. No need to look at random evidence when John's injuries could not have been caused by the Lexus. Yeah. It's breakfast, Michelle. What are you talking about? Dinner. Daniel Wolf, Andrew Rentschler, and Scott Klein. There was also Chris Van E. Right, he's design, research, and engineering. That's who it is. I'll bet you that's who it is this time. Because I remember Van E coming up in pre-trial motions, both trials, but in the last trial they didn't call him, but I think they're going to this time, so you could be right. Michael Easter is out. He's been tossed. They won't have him. He's the one that wanted to talk about the police policies, as they taught them from the FBI. So MVP crazy part is the Commonwealth could not legally use extrapolated BAC for straight OUI, but they can for OUI manslaughter. Yeah, that is crazy. How fast did Trooper Paul go in reverse when he backed up? I don't know that he got to that speed. Well, I actually got the AI to look at the video and try and establish how fast he got. But because the video was taken with the camera guy standing behind the car and the car reversing towards the camera, not going left to right past the camera, we couldn't actually get a reading on it. So we could have, if they'd have done it left to right, sort of he was standing beside the car, filming it go past, we could have got a speed reading on it. The speed limiter cannot be switched off. No. A mechanic can get under there and adjust it for the different countries that they're going to sell the vehicle in, but no, it can't just be switched off. Klein was the telematics guy. There you go. I couldn't work out which one it would be. Easter was the FBI dude that Bev denied. That's him, yep. 3 people's touch DNA near the tail light. I don't remember near the tail light. Did he say that? I remember there was hair near the tail light, but I don't remember other touch DNA there. Bev thinks proper police procedure is common knowledge. You're right. Yeah, because they always collect blood and solar cups, right? Prince is back again. We're still here, and you're back. Hank establishes the extensive training the cops, and everyone go, Hank does? Mind blown. The defense had a third ARCA guy. Yeah, that's it. Scott, and then Scott Klein as a separate guy. Yeah. So Van E was the third ARCA guy, and then Scott Klein is the telematics expert. I'm glad they kept it all. Like, it's shit that we ended up with a mistrial last time, but I'm kind of glad that they overestimated their prosecution ability during the trial and ran everything so short in their closing, in their case in chief, because it kind of like it left all this stuff open for this trial, right? So bloody awesome, I reckon. You can change your miles per hour to kilometers. Yeah, but that's not the governor that stops it from going backwards too fast. Yes. All right, guys. I think I'm out of steam. I've gone through all my notes. Those were my main bitches for today that I needed to vent about. And Scott Klein actually works for ARCA. He does work for ARCA. So there you go. 4 guys from ARCA. There you go. I got so confused as to who was who, honestly. Like, until I see their faces on the stand, then and even hear their voices, then I'll remember next time I see them. But you just give me a list of names and I'm freaking useless. I'm terrible with nouns. All right, so to close out, let's do some music to close up with. What do you reckon, guys? Let's close out with a couple of tunes. I reckon we could do that. Let's go back to the playlist. See what I didn't play so far. Oh, this is going to make... All right. Well, let's work out what we haven't played so far. No. Give me the damn playlist. Oh, my God. Why is this being impossible? YouTube just changed their layout. I don't know if it's just Chrome or what, but they just changed their layout and it's really freaking frustrating me. Like, don't change the software on me, people. Let me just let me pick some closing out music for us to listen to, like that we haven't heard yet, right? something that we haven't heard yet. All right, here we go. This one's for the whiners, right? Let's do a song for the whiners. They sit on they either go in your comments and they complain, like, why aren't you saying what I want you to say and talking about what I want you to talk about? Stuff like that. Yes, thank you, Karen. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up, guys. That's different. Intelligent speed assist, that's a different thing altogether. That's not the governor that stops it from going in reverse faster than the drivetrain can handle it. That's a different thing altogether. Completely different thing altogether. But yes, that is intelligent speed assist that you're talking about. And so when you try to Google the thing that I'm talking about, you'll always get results for this thing, basically. So yeah. Whiners, welcome at the sidebar. All right, let's go out with a song, and this is a song for the whiners. Let's get the volume where it's supposed to be. Let's get the headphones where they're supposed to be. Share the screen. Stop your crying, whiners.
Stop your crying, whiners. Don't you see? Creativity flowing. You're blocking the spree. Press the stop button. Move on today. Don't ruin the magic with the words you say. Silence all the noise, let your mind be free. Turn the sound up, keep the melody. You call it critique, but it's stale charade. In the harmony of life, you're the dissonant parade. Can't you hear the music, the rhythm up ahead? Leave behind complaints, join the dance instead. Crank the volume high, let those doubts fade. We'll paint the town with colors and notes we cascade. Blocking the spree. Press the stop button. Move on today. Don't ruin the magic with the words you say. Silence all the noise, let your mind be free. Turn the sound up, keep the melody. Oh, the pity parade, marching without grace. Stuck on repeat in the same tired place. Click the remote, change the channel's tune. Life's too short, let's skip to the next afternoon. So pack up your tales of woe, let them drift away. Catalyze the spark, don't kill the display. Fine, say goodbye to the moans, let's hear a brighter sound. Lift the spirits high, creativity abound. Oh, your symphony of sighs won't bring us down. In this technicolor world, we're painting the town. Give your grievances a break, let laughter fill the air.
Bye, everyone.